A woman once came to me about her brother. She said, he's been going to doctors for about 4 or 5 years, and he is no better. His weight has gone down to 90 pounds. And would you see him? And I said, if his trouble is mental, I cannot help him. He belongs with a psychiatrist. If, however, there is a moral basis for his condition, then I can help him. The man came. He weighed about 90 pounds, frail, fearful. And I said, talk to me for a half hour. I will not interrupt you. He talked for about 40 minutes. And I said, how much money did you steal? He said, I didn't steal. I said, how much was it? He said, I resent that. I am no thief. I did not steal. How much was it? He said, $3,000. He said, how did you know I stole? I said, I didn't know you stole. Well, why did you ask me? Well, I said, as you talked, you told me that whenever you put money in the collection box, you always wiped it off first. And I thought perhaps you had dirty money. Yes, he said he had stolen $3,000. Well, we made arrangements to pay it back, and his health picked up. This was the guilt on his soul. Just think, my dear ladies, of how many mentally disturbed women we are going to have in the United States in the next 10 or 15 years when the guilt of abortion begins to attack the mind and soul. For the present, they justify it on the grounds that everyone is doing it, and it's only scar tissue anyway. As one doctor said to a girl who came in and said, well, it's only a little scar tissue. Would you remember it? Would you dismember it? And the doctor said, what did you intend to call the scar tissue? So in years from now, the guilt will come out in a peculiar way. Though at present there may not be any. The guilt may not manifest itself at once. That is very evident in the course of the life of King David. David was one day on the top of his palace in the penthouse, and he looked across the street and he saw a woman on the adjoining penthouse, Bathsheba. And he asked Bathsheba to come over and see his etchings. And he loved Bathsheba, not wisely but too well, and she's found with child. The husband, Uriah, was away at war. David called him back. As king, he could do that. And he said, go home to your wife. He said, no, I'm at war. We're not allowed to be with the wife when we're fighting. David then got him drunk, said, go home. He slept at David's front door. David was trying to blame the paternity onto the husband. So finally, finding that he couldn't get rid of him that way, he said to the general, put him in the front lines. Men have to die in battle. Maybe Uriah will be killed. Uriah was killed. It didn't bother David in the least until about 7 or 8 months after, the prophet Nathan came to him. He said, David, I have a problem, and you as king must settle it. There was a poor man who had one tiny little ewe lamb. Next door to this poor man lived a rich man who stole the poor lamb and made a banquet for his rich friends. And David immediately became interested in social justice. David said, this shall not be. He shall pay with his life, and the property shall be restored fourfold. And Nathan said, thou art the man. You took the ewe lamb of Uriah, and you killed that ewe lamb. The ewe lamb was Bethsabe, I mean. And you have taken this lamb away from the husband. And that was the moment when David sat down and wrote the famous Psalm 50. Have mercy on me, O Lord, have mercy on me. Or I think it's maybe 51 in the New Scriptures. You see, sometimes, now not always, but sometimes we can cover up our want of individual justice by a great love of social justice.